This is it. First day of pads for the Kansas City Chiefs, and good news for your team. Orlando Brown is back. He has come in and is no longer holding out. Reported to camp this morning. Looks like he has a conditioning test to complete. It's going to go over that physical, and he's going to have to sign that tag. 3 steps to get onto the field. Not sure I expect him before Wednesday. We'll see if he can make it out tomorrow. He will not be in padded practice here on Monday, but he is in the house. There's been a lot of speculation about that over the last couple of weeks. And in the end, it turned out like we've talked about here on the channel. If you're new, this is RGR Football. I'm Ryan going rogue on the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL, where I give you all the breakdowns, all the analysis. Me and my crew get it all, from film to analytics to the way that things work inside the coaching room. There's a lot going on. And in the end, Orlando Brown needed to get into the fold. Now, a slight miscalculation. Should have hopefully come in last night so he had enough time to be ready to do the conditioning test and be ready for pads today. He's missing a day of pads, and that's unfortunate because I think that's really what he needed. And according to his representation, that is something that he was cognizant of, is you can actually make more progress on padded days than really blocking against air. It's important for the offensive linemen. So in the end, there wasn't anything for him to gain by staying out of camp any longer. The only thing it would do is make it harder for him to adjust when he did come in. There were rumors that people were throwing out about missing ball games and that kind of thing come the regular season. While that may even come from his reps as a negotiation tactic, that was never really on the table because that only hurts Orlando. He would have missed game checks, which is the number one thing that he's after, and it would have slowed his progress getting into shape for the season and actually playing his best when he put things on film. And at the end of the day, whether you're trying to get a better contract next year after this first franchise tag from the Kansas City Chiefs, and you really do want to stay here, it's still about a negotiation. You still have to show that you're elite on the field if you want to get that money. And if it's not the Chiefs and another franchise tag happens, you have to be able to pursue other teams that may be interested in some kind of departure situation. Again, it all comes back to the film that you put on and how well you play. In the end, the only person he would have hurt by staying out any longer was himself. Now, he gets into the fold, he gets onto the practice field, he gets himself up and running so that he can actually hit the ground running by week 1. I'm not too worried about the first preseason game. I think he'll be fine. I think that this is enough time. This is ahead of the schedule that I had set. If you guys remember, I said that really the drop dead date for me was August 10th so that he could participate before they left camp. And that was going to be important. Now, he will have missed a few days of practice, 1 day of pads. And hey, that's okay. For a guy of that caliber, the guy of that experience level, I think that he's going to be just fine. That will allow him to adjust pretty dramatically. So this is good news all the way around. And hopefully the interaction between the coaching staff, the front office staff, and Orlando himself should be fine. They all understand that this is a business and this is what had to happen. They can move on and they have to forge their future together, whether it's future long-term or it's future for Orlando somewhere else or whatever ends up happening. They can only benefit by moving forward together and playing the best games that they can, and he performing the best that he can. If he can prove that he's elite, if he can prove that he is in better shape, that he is now fleet of foot enough to handle the speed rush better, to be in the top 10 in terms of blocking efficiency in the pass game. Run blocking is always good. This game's built around pass blocking. If he can get to that point, the negotiation may turn next season to something that is more, hey, you've proven that you're that good. We can now feel better about giving you top money or close to top money or somewhere close to that, or the guarantees that he was looking for that were very cognizant of what the other guarantees were, not only around the league, but in particular for some guys that play for the Baltimore Ravens. That seems to be a sticking point for Orlando. That's great. But this performance, if he really is in better shape, like we say, we should know tomorrow or Wednesday, that should let him continue that negotiation and make a big push forward. If that's the way it works out, that's great for everybody. A couple of quick questions. Terry Mitchell, how are you? Why do you think that he came back early instead of holding out? Again, because I think you're trying to push your point, but at this point, once the deadline passed, you can't negotiate anymore. You can't gain anything else. You can't sign a contract with anyone else. And now it becomes about balancing, hey, I'm going to show you what it looks like without me. And hey, I still need to get paid. Like there's a balance there back and forth. It is about relationships. In the end, NFL is about relationships. And you can make your point. You don't want to push too hard because that sours relationships. That's when you get in position where you don't get what you want either, Terry. So really, it was all upside by coming in. There was really no upside to staying out any longer. Taylor, hope you're doing well. And Sneaky, you're absolutely right. Golden Age, I appreciate that as well. Now, I'll have more for you once we see him on the field, once we have an idea of what kind of shape he's in. Matt will be on Locked On Chiefs with me tomorrow. So we should have an idea there. We should know from Andy today about Jody Fortson, about the plan for Orlando. And in the meantime, Roderick Johnson has moved back to left. That means Andrew Wiley is now at right as of Monday morning in pads. That goes to show that they feel Orlando's back now. We're going to try to keep Andrew at right. Roderick Johnson, Jaron Christian may be competing for the backup swing position. We'll see. I still think that belongs to Kennard, but we're going to have to see what pads do. We have a couple more coming. So there's a lot coming down the pike. Tyler, thoughts on Pacheco getting reps with the ones? I think that's great. Let's see what the volume becomes. They have to get a look at him because he does have that kind of athleticism. Let's see what he can get in terms of rep load here this week, particularly today. I'm interested to see like how he runs between the tackles when given the opportunity. And thoughts on Rojo possibly getting cut. I haven't heard anything that he looks bad yet. So let's see how the reps divide here. He's also another vet. He and Clyde don't have to have the most reps in camp, but let's see how they look as they come in. We have a lot going on here today, guys. Daryl, thank you. If you would hit the thumbs up, if you would subscribe to the channel, and actually hit the bell as well so you see when things like this happen and I go live kind of quick. So appreciate your time. Excited for the day. Excited to have the offensive line coming into shape. Maybe Lucas Niang gets back before midseason. We'll see. I'll have more for you tonight. We'll be live Q&A on RGR Football at 6 Central. Thanks for your time this morning. Have a good one, and I'll